I grew up in Aventura, Florida, and I lived in Boca for my first year of college. I actually lived right around the corner. I was a big-time surfer girl, surfing at Spanish River and Deerfield Beach. And so needless to say, when my acorn story hit the headlines, my days at the beach became severely numbered. And I was like, all right, I think my life's going to change. Suddenly I was making appearances on national news, giving Fox News Channel some of the best ratings they've ever had. I personally got sued a few times, and back at home, Aventura Police Department was protecting the entire city. They were on high alert, and they were protecting our family and our church. I was 20 when all of that happened. A sophomore in college. I'm 23 now, and I've learned a lot since that time in my life, and I'm prepared to take my work to the next level. 2 major changes have happened in my life since that time. I got married to an amazing man who understands my calling. And I founded the American Phoenix Foundation to facilitate more stories like my Acorn investigation and to equip hundreds like me to do the same. One thing about my husband, Joe, that I want to share. I got him a large silver wedding ring, and inside I had a Latin saying inscribed. It translates to, "Justice even though the heavens may fall." This means that when everything around us is failing, we must stand for justice. If we do this, our country and our families will be much better for it. So, we as advocates for justice are playing a game of chess. Our problem is we're playing with half the pieces. We are losing the narrative war every day. When we lose the narrative war, we lose culture and we lose politics. This results in unchecked corruption and rampant moral failure. The media used to expose these things, exposing corruption, challenging authority, but now the establishment media has become part of the corrupt power structure. Journalism schools in America destroy the courage and creativity of justice-seeking young people. They replace it with a desire to join the power structure rather than speaking truth to power. All of us must be in the business of reaching hearts and minds. This is very different than modern 50-50 politics. Fortunately, most issues are not 50-50, and it's the media that creates the impression that the country is divided straight down the middle and that we have to fight for that middle 1%. These efforts have never moved the ball forward, and they will never move the ball forward. We have to go over the heads of the media, jump over that 50-50 line, and show America the truth. We have to disrupt false narratives. So let's talk about my Acorn investigation. It's been Acorn super overdone today. I hear it's like Acorn, Acorn, Acorn. Everyone talks about it. You know what happened, but why did it work? Why was my video investigation effective? Andrew Breitbart actually explained this very thing to me on a crazy, hectic cab ride to JFK, and it really struck a chord with me. It worked because we disrupted Acorn's narrative. For too long, Acorn got away with the story that they were helping poor people. Never mind that Acorn's leaders were directly robbing the very same people they were claiming to help. They had been investigated over and over again for fraud, especially their voter fraud and their involvement with the mortgage crisis. But the moment my videos came out showing Acorn all too willing and able to help facilitate underage prostitution, the U.S. legislative bodies voted overwhelmingly to defund them, the Census Bureau severed ties with them, and their private investors distanced themselves from the group. And this was all like in 5 days of the videos coming out. The evidence was clear and undeniable, shedding light on 30 years of corrupt practices. So let's get nerdy for a second and analyze some data on the efficiency of this investigation. In 2008, Obama spent over $700 million winning the 2008 election. In 2008, McCain spent over $300 million losing. Between James and I, we spent less than $1,500 making the Acorn videos. I think it's arguable that if we had done those videos in the fall of 2008, rather than the fall of 2009, we would have an entirely different president. It's for reasons like these that we need and must have courageous souls like all of you here today. Please imagine with me, you can close your eyes if you want, what kind of political climate would exist if we broke stories that destroyed false narratives on a weekly or even monthly basis. It will be on the backs of hardworking and disciplined men and women such as yourselves that this capacity will be developed. Please never allow it to be just a job or just a chore. And please never allow it to become your way of grasping for power. The day that I first met my husband, we were separately working undercover in union halls in Massachusetts. And we ended up together having to give rides to our other friends that were undercover to the airport. We're at the airport together in Boston, and the sun was setting. We're waiting to get on our own planes. We're talking about undercover journalism, and he said, "Do you ever think we'll be as corrupt as the people that we investigate?" And I said, "Absolutely, if we don't train up a new generation to hold us accountable." And so that has been our philosophy and determination for what we do. I don't want to control the media establishment, because given that power, even us in this room would fall prey to our human nature. In turn, it would do no good for the American people and perpetuate their apathy towards the media. I think our highest use right now is strategically placed reporters and initiatives to hold our leaders and our media accountable. So, accountability is what we seek, courage is what we must have, and content is what we must deliver. I don't think we need 30 more blog sites in Florida. I think we all need to hunker down, work together, and expose false narratives. So let's get a show of hands. How many of you, with the biggest story of your life, how many of you with your acorn would give it away? You would remove your byline if it meant reaching more people and doing more good. I'm in good company. I couldn't do that. I wasn't at a place of maturity or experience to be able to make a decision like that. But you need to think about things like that when you're discovering why you're doing this in the first place. We cannot go into the field of journalism with the mindset to change the world. That's why the progressive movement got involved. We must go into journalism and stay there for the relentless pursuit of truth and justice, no matter what the outcome may be. This must be the foundation and basis for our work. Our passion, our goal must be truth and justice, not the desire to take down our foes, and not the desire to help those we perceive to be friends. What I need you to do, what I hope you'll do, is hold your own feet to the fire, require evidence over opinion, and demand industriousness over celebrity. Learn, work, and teach as if America's future is on the line, because as you all know, it is. I'm asking all of you to use your time and all of your talents to disrupt the narratives that are ruining this country. And I'm asking you to join me as I start my life's work of narrative disruption in the pursuit of justice. And now, questions and answers. Yes, sir.
How did you discover the need to investigate Acorn? How did you find out what they were doing?
In the fall of 2008, I was a political columnist for my school, and I wrote a lot about the election, and that's when I discovered Saul Lindsay community organizing, and Acorn was in the news a lot with their voter fraud, like the Mickey Mouse thing. And that's when I became familiar with them as a group. Once the election occurred, I kind of was like, oh, whatever. I can't accomplish anything. I can't change hearts and minds writing. And I was frustrated by that. Fast forward to the summer of 2009, I was living in Washington, D.C. And as I was driving up to D.C., my mom drove me to D.C., and she said, hey, maybe you'll get a chance to investigate that Acorn group. And I said to her, Mom, I'm an intern. I'll never be able to do that. Interns have no power, nothing. Get to D.C., move in. I hated D.C., and it was like the third day I went on a jog. I lived 3 blocks away from the Acorn housing headquarters, and that's when fate struck me, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see if I can actually investigate them. And it started off innocent. Can I even do it? Will they even answer my questions? And, you know, we all know how that played out, so.
Good job.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
How did you meet James in that process?
James and I met in person the day before we went undercover. Through several friends, I got in touch with James over Facebook, and my friends had told me, he's the guy with a hidden camera, and he does this, he'll help you. So over Facebook, we kind of just developed a safe enough acquaintance to where I would trust him with this story, and that's how it happened. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question about undercover journalism. You went in there and videotaped, but how do you? I don't know the laws. If that's something that I want to do, is that legal? Is that safe? Does it depend on the different states? How would you be able to not? I mean, I'm surprised they don't try to track you guys or any kind of illegal videotaping or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, they did. I've been in 3 lawsuits over that. I was 20 years old and completely naive to a lot of things. And I will say this, talk with a lawyer if you're gonna go undercover. It will save you a lot of grief and a lot of time, and know your state's rules. Know the laws before you step out and do anything. It'll save everyone a lot of money if you do that in the beginning, so. Yes, sir.
You had so much influence and really struck fear and heart of some liberals. I did one investigative work for Fair Housing Center and what the government testimony. And the first thing they did before we were already thinking about America said, I want everybody direct. I want everybody's cell phone, everybody's device to put in a box because we don't want an equal situation here.
That's funny.
And you know what? And, you know, with undercover journalism, even if, you know, our what we did, if that means that Acorn or any community organizing group or any other group is going to start dotting their I's and crossing their T's, good. Good. So, you know, at least it serves that purpose. Yes, sir.
Hannah, I just want to say that for my generation, who oftentimes is worried about the youth of America, Thank you for giving us hope. And I want to add to that, I'm completely honored to be in this room. I got asked to come to this, and I saw your name on there, and just simply amazing. Please continue to share your story and to enthuse and invigorate the rest of the youth of America to turn off the Nintendo and take up something important. Thank you.
Yeah, I will say that I've become extremely cynical at 23. I feel like just a bitter old woman sometimes. Sorry, but every time I go and I work with young journalists, I get that excitement again. And I realize, okay, this is happening, and even if I am horrible the rest of my life, these young people, they've got it going on, and with that courage, creativity, and determination, America will be okay. So, yes, ma'am.
Something you mentioned earlier is that we need to all come together. I think everybody here knows that what we get on the mainstream media is garbage, it's false, it's slanted, it's bogus, it's in which way. And we need to, today we're focusing on the voter fraud issue, obviously. Well, we have a lot of integrity issues at that ballot box, not strictly voter fraud. And so much of this is tied into the corrupt reporting that we get. So anything we can do to try to work together to bring attention to the other corruption at the same time, because I got some information back here. We're calling it We the People versus the ballot box establishment. And we're trying to explain to people that we're never going to take this country back if we don't take the vote back. Obviously, not letting dead people vote is a good part of it. But we also have to let people run for office, honest people run for office, and these kind of things too. So we have another piece of this that we have to work together to clean up. So we have the right to vote to elect the people we want. I'm sure many of you know right now the RNC delegates are suing the RNC because of race. But that's just another piece of this whole process.
Well, yeah, and the thing about the establishment media, if you give them good content, they will play it. If it's good, if it's real, if it's substantial, because at the end of the day, the media world is a business, and they need money. And good content, even if it creates a crazy scandal, they will play it because it makes them money.
Well, unfortunately, I can tell you in Orlando that's not true, because they are so in bed with the parties, the political parties. When you show them the corruption, they don't want to report it because then they'll get blocked from the access to the people who they are, the corruption, the actual government itself. So that, unfortunately, that hasn't been my experience. And I mean, in the past 10 years, giving them information, showing them the corruption, spelling it out to them, they say, well, no, and then they just do nothing here. That's why we get an alternative for honest reporting.
Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, your mother supported you. Did your father also? And how did your friends, your personal friends, react to what you were doing?
My parents are actually in the back of the room, and my dad he just said, be safe. And I've done jiu-jitsu my entire life, so he knew that I would be safe, but he meant like be safe smart-wise. And that's all he said, and that he was praying for me. And my friends in D.C., every single one of my friends told me they will never talk to me again if I do it, that that's what crazy journalists do, and that I will never have a career in politics. I had 3 senators' wives tell me, oh, that's a funny idea, don't do it. You'll ruin your political career. Fortunately, I had a core team of good friends who understood me and what I was about, and they were very supportive. But the DC people were totally against it. But of course, after it was successful, and I was on Fox News, they loved me and they told me, oh, we've always supported you and loved you, and we've always known you could be good. But that's, a lot of what I'm saying, what I said in my speech is from that experience. as long as it goes with their agenda, they'll support you. But if it doesn't, they won't. And the conservative movement was very against my idea to do this. But because it was effective, they embraced it. So, yes, sir?
Do you have any concerns? I know you have an address in Washington, D.C., and you have servers that receive emails and communications to you. Do you have any concerns on how you conduct your day-to-day activities, that your outfit and what you're doing are being observed or are being watched? And you can talk to that, what you do to protect yourself against it.
Yeah, if my organization gets infiltrated, then we deserve to be infiltrated. We're very, and we're open also. Like, if there's something shady that we're doing, please hold us accountable. If not, you know, if some left-wing journalist that hates my guts came to my organization, I guarantee they would leave there not hating what we do, and they would be really inspired and excited. So that's my views on that. From a physical threat, after the Acorn story came out, things were crazy. Absolutely crazy. But right now, you know, I've just been putting my head down and working hard and haven't been on TV all the time, so I haven't really had to fear for my safety with that. But. Anyone else? Okay. Oh.
Where do you see yourself in 10 or 20 years?
Retired. Hopefully lots of babies and retired. All right, thank you guys so much.